main entrance, were 35 cents higher than they would have been out on Highway 80. So despite the request from several levels to knock off this price gouging, there's still people doing it. So there's different websites available. I know Gas Buddy is one of them, where you can just take a second and look up on the internet, and they're constantly updating those prices. So you can see a 50-cent per gallon difference only 3 or 4 miles apart. And so encourage people to use that internet and acquire that information so they can get the lowest prices possible. And they say on the national level, overall, the prices have dropped 49 or 50 cents from 30 days ago. So we're starting to see things heading in the right direction there. Another issue on the Mississippi state level, we had this horrible embezzlement by elected officials and appointed officials with the TANF funds. I believe it's $74 million total squandered. And just last week, the attorney for the Department of Human Services subpoenaed the University of Southern Mississippi Athletic Foundation for any communication that they had with the former governor, Phil Bryant, and his wife, Deborah. It come to find out one of the lead people in this whole scheme, a lady by the name of Nancy New, who has already pleaded guilty to some counts along with her son, diverting this money that was supposed to go to the very neediest people in the state of Mississippi, and devoting it for their personal gain. And so we'll see what comes out of that. What comes out of that subpoena. It's interesting that so many people have been arrested. So many people have gone before the grand jury. So many people have pled guilty already in this whole scheme. But interestingly enough, the only person with the statutory responsibility for all federal funds, that's the governor of the state in all 50 states. That's the only person that has the statutory responsibility to care for and properly utilize those funds. In this case, that would have been the former governor, Phil Bryant. And he has not been charged. He has not been taken to task in any way. And yet, on paper, he's the only one required by law to safeguard those funds. So we'll have to see what happens because, the birds are chirping. They're starting to spill the beans, and we'll see how this pans out. One inference that I heard over the weekend from the lead investigator that's brought us the vast majority of this news on the TANF scandal, her name is Anna Wolf. She works for the Mississippi Today. It's a nonprofit news organization based in Ridgeland, Mississippi, just a little tiny bit north of Jackson. And she indicated that, although that $74 million is obviously a huge deal, she certainly inferred that the state of Mississippi has been playing fast and loose with these welfare funds, another way to characterize them, for many years now. So we're a long way from seeing the end of this, and we're sure glad that Anna Wolf is hot on their trail, trying to hold these people accountable. It seems like the elected officials at the state level, not all of them, of course, but it seems like there's many of them at the highest level that they seem to believe that poverty is a crime, and it's not a crime, and they seem to want to do whatever they can do to not help the least of these or people that are in dire situations. To give a family of three that $276 a month, it's just, for groceries, it's just really tough to fathom that, especially when they need to go do that shopping at grocery stores. If they're anywhere around the Jackson area, they're paying extra tax for those groceries. And so how far is that gonna stretch? I mean, I might pay that myself, one single person, for a month's worth of groceries and meals and so forth. I can't imagine that a family with three children. I just can't imagine that how they're finding a way to get by on that. But each year, it seemed like these senior elected officials pride themselves on slimming down these what they call welfare rolls. Getting that list to be as short as possible. And yet, there's millions and millions, tens of millions of dollars a year come into our state specifically to help those folks that are in dire straits. But now we have a great, a big example that money's being, diverted and used for other things. So it's almost like a double insult. Not only do we treat very harshly people that money is intended for, but then we do worse. These senior elected officials do worse with shifting it over to their pet projects. And an $8 million volleyball stadium at the University of Southern Mississippi, courtesy of Brett Favre, the NFL player. There's another name that he hasn't been charged with any crimes, but there's ample information out there. It certainly appears there's ample information that he knew exactly where that money was coming from. So not too much honor involved in that kind of stuff, where that the money you're receiving for one of your pet projects is coming directly from the welfare of very poor people. Again, we don't think that poverty is a crime, and we ought to stop treating people, like it is. So we'll see what comes out of that subpoena, and get back to you on that. One last item before we go to break. It was announced last week that all the county health departments in Mississippi across the entire state now have the Pfizer and Moderna vaccines for 6-month-old children and up. So there's no excuse. The vaccines are available, and we need to get these young folks to get those vaccines to protect them. School is going to be starting back up again soon, and we want those children to have all the coverage that they can possibly have, so that if they do catch this horrible virus, that the symptoms won't be bad, and hopefully that we can limit the transmission. At least that'll be the goal. So we know some people close by here to the studio that are suffering with that now, that have had to be out of work and quarantine and so forth with the virus. So don't let your guard down. It hasn't disappeared. Just because the numbers went down doesn't mean they can't swing back up again, which is exactly what they're doing. So let's do the best we can to get everybody vaccinated, even the little ones. So we'll dip out now. Our call-in number is 1-800-492-5186, and we'll just dip out for a minute or so for a commercial break. Be right back.
Advertise on WeBelieve.Global, a brand new digital media platform. Share your brand with our audience on our many global live stream TV broadcasts and over the radio. For more info, visit WeBelieve.Global or call 800-492-5186, option 1.
SocratesGarrettENT.com is a diversified firm specializing in recycled aggregates and crushed concrete. SocratesGarrettENT.com's recycled materials provide the construction industry with significant economic and environmental benefits by recycling clean concrete rubble into MDOT grade rock materials. Recycled aggregates and crushed concrete can be applied to driveways, road construction, bank protection, parking lots, general bulk fills, and more. By using SocratesGarrettENT.com's crushed concrete products, anyone from homeowners to general contractors can help reduce landfilled concrete waste, conserve natural resources, and gain significant economic savings on materials and disposal costs. For more information, please call 601-896-0084 or visit us online at SocratesGarrettENT.com.
Wedding, milestone anniversary, or corporate event, Five Star Lodge is the rustic elegance you need for your event space. With hardwood and stunning chandeliers, this is just the beginning of the 5-star treatment. Our on-site venue manager will ensure all details exceed your expectations. We offer a luxurious bridal lounge, beautiful reception hall, cabins, and an outdoor pavilion on the water. Visit 5stareventlodge.com to get started on your most memorable experience.
Very good. Welcome back, and we have to send out a thank you to our sponsors providing ads to cover the cost of the shows. One thing I was mentioning, the vaccines are available for the little ones now from both Pfizer and Moderna. Also, it was reported last week that the FDA is working on the second booster for all adults. Up until this point, it's been for 50 or 55 and above, especially people with compromising health situations. But now the FDA is working on making a second booster available for all adults. So we should be hearing more on that coming up in the future. Wanted to mention the January 6th hearings. The next hearing is 7 p.m. on Thursday, prime time. That'll be the 8th hearing. Continuing to learn more and more information about planning, the planning of the January 6th insurrection. It's totally fiction at this point. If anybody was thinking that it was just an angry mob that just decided to, on their own volition to just attack. There was a plan involved, and there's ample information available that's corroborated that. So anyway, this coming Thursday night, I've only been able to watch 3 of them from start to finish, and then just get tidbits from other news programs later in the evening. But it's really fascinating to see the questioning going on, and the people responding the way they respond. So that whole thing was a train wreck, and it was just so fundamentally wrong. So hopefully we can get to the truth of that. We also want to send our best regards out to our Congressman Benny Thompson, who just announced this morning that he has COVID and has some mild symptoms. And so hopefully he can get back on track very soon. We send our best wishes out to him in that regard. I think when we go down to the local level here in Jackson, the mayor had a press conference yesterday. A lot of things being talked about. This relationship between the mayor of Jackson and the Jackson City Council. It doesn't appear that it's serving the people. It seems like they're at an impasse. A lot of 3-4 votes and 4-3 votes, and there's a lot of squabbling going on. Sometimes it gets out in public, and to hear these elected officials making insinuations towards one another, or making accusations towards one another. It's a sad commentary, because when they're caught all up in that stuff, they're not serving the people. They're not the people that put them in office, and the people that they're supposed to be representing in their wards and the for the mayor's part through the whole city, they're not being served by all that. So, now is the time where we've got to put these hatchets down and start showing respect for one another, and just listen to one another, and maybe not be so tribal, and just trying to work through some issues, because there isn't anybody that can really say that the people are being served right now while all this is going on. Last week, July 5th, Ashby Foote was voted in as the new council president for the Jackson City Council. Now that's a unique thing, because Ashby Foote and Virgie Lindsay are the two white people on the 7-member council. The Jackson City Council, 7 members, 5 African Americans, 2 European Americans. And Virgie Lindsay held the post of president for 2 out of the last 3 years. And now Ashby Foote's going in as the president. So really baffling to me. To me personally, I don't quite grasp that, because, you have a majority African American council would hopefully be working with the African American mayor to solve some of these, these painful issues that we have going on down here in Jackson. But it seems like everybody's at each other's throat, and again, not serving the people. So I don't fully understand why, maybe there's more to that. If you have some insights or some thoughts on that, please give us a call, 1-800-492-5186, and, shine the light so we can understand that situation a little better. In the meantime, I guess all we can do is hope for the best with Mr. Foote. He's a longtime businessman. He's been on the council a long time, which makes me a little concerned about all that. But one thing is really important to remember: if you're going to be an elected official around Jackson, Mississippi, and you are not embracing and seeking the advancement of African American people, you are in the wrong line of work. You need to get out of there, because this is a black city. By the census, 82.5% black, but when you open the drapes, it's higher, probably 85% black city. So if you're a business person, if you're an elected official like a mayor or a council member or a board of supervisors member at the county level, and you are not embracing black people and finding ways to help black people advance under this very, very unlevel playing field, then you're in the wrong line of work. You really got to ask yourself, what am I representing if I'm not embracing these folks and trying to help square things up and make things more equitable and make things more fair? We're a very Christian state here in Mississippi. So those two things go together. Christianity and fairness and equity go together. Racism is grossly juxtaposed to Christianity. And so we need to be treating people better, and we need elected officials that will work hard at that and look for ways, not just wait to see what other people suggest, but to invest themselves and find ways. Any little bit can help. That's how lopsided the tables are right now. So we want to do anything we can do to help. The trash contract, is a big item. And of course, that is a big economic engine for black people. And yet we have 3 black council members steadfastly against the current vendor, Richards Disposal out of New Orleans. So, and it's been in and out of court. It's going back to court again. I was at a press conference that the mayor held yesterday afternoon. He appears to be sticking to his guns. He just feels like it's fundamentally wrong that the council on multiple occasions voted against this contract. He makes note of that this is not the first African-American vendor that they've turned down in this contract. And so you got to ask yourself, what this nucleus of three African-American council people, what is up? What is your real motivation here? Because this is not helping the city. And it's costing the city lots and lots in legal bills. So, and there's a fundamental principle, that I think should apply here. It's the lowest contract. That alone should tell you we're so cash strapped in this city, and to have this vendor come along and essentially prove to us that we were getting bilked, getting routed by the former vendor, Waste Management. So $1.2 million a year. I can think of a lot of things that can be done to be helpful in Jackson if I had a 1.2 million extra a year hanging around. So I wish these folks would get together, realize who they're really working for, put their personalities aside, and do the right thing. The Richards Disposal Company that the mayor put to work, despite the negative vote, he put them to work under an emergency declaration, and now they would like to get paid. They're over halfway through their 4th month of providing services, and the council has refused to pay them. They won't. They removed the item from the agenda. They won't even take up the item. So Richards has now filed suit for the recoupment of the first 2 months. So that's about $1.6 million for the first 2 months of work. And of course, the bottom line is somebody's going to get paid for picking up the trash. So it isn't like you can just get the trash picked up for free. That's just a faulty concept. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens with all that. We should get more news on that soon. In fact, this morning, there's a city council meeting was held, and several things having to do with the trash contract were on the agenda. So hopefully, when you come tomorrow to join us for Newsbreak, we should be able to discuss that and give you more of an update, more details on that. Also, don't forget about the Mississippi Link newspaper. It's a print newspaper. It's a weekly newspaper. The Mississippi Link is African-American owned, been in business nearly 30 years. The paper is available online at themississippiLink.com, and you can get up to speed on a lot of issues, including the trash contract, by reading the Mississippi Link. The Mississippi Link is one of 2 African-American newspapers that I'm aware of in the city. The other one is called the Jackson Advocate, and they've been in business a long time, longer than the Mississippi Link for sure. But two great papers. Be sure to check those out. Either rolling it through your fingers or clicking online to read the new stories and get updated. So that's about it for today. We thank you very much for your time and tuning in, and we should be back with you tomorrow a little bit earlier, about around 12 noon tomorrow, I believe, and we look forward to seeing you then. Be sure to stay hydrated and in this heat, and stay safe.